Those who rush to prove how much they know are slaves to their vanity. Those who pretend to know nothing often control everything. In every court, workplace, and intimate bond, the sharpest weapon is not the sword of brilliance, but the mask of ignorance. True power lies not in showing your strength, but in concealing it until it is too late for your adversary to defend. In this lesson, we explore the art of deliberate stupidity, how the wise man bends others, not by force, but by allowing them to reveal themselves. For the greatest victory comes not from being feared in the open, but from being underestimated in the shadows. Power does not always reveal itself in brilliance. Often, it hides beneath the cloak of simplicity, of foolishness, of deliberate ignorance. A mask, carefully chosen, is a sharper blade than any sword. Why? Because men fear the wolf they see, but they ignore the lamb until it devours them. Imagine you walk into a room of rivals. One man proclaims his intelligence. Another displays his wealth. A third boasts of his influence. They compete, showing their weapons in the open. And you smile. You ask simple questions. You appear unthreatening, almost naive. They dismiss you. They lower their guard. And in that moment, you already hold the advantage. Feigning ignorance disarms suspicion. It makes others reveal what they would conceal. It lets them underestimate you. And the underestimated man is the most dangerous of all. History teaches this lesson well. Consider Octavian, later known as Augustus. In Rome's civil wars, he was seen as weak, young, inexperienced, sickly. Mark Antony and others underestimated him, mistaking patience for fragility. Octavian played the role of the harmless boy. But when the time came, he struck with precision, dismantling Antony and seizing the empire. Had he shown his hand too early, he would have been destroyed. Ignorance, feigned or real, was his shield until his sword could cut. Now, let us bring this closer to your world. In business, how often do people destroy themselves by displaying all their knowledge at once? The eager employee who corrects his superior publicly. The novice entrepreneur who boasts of his brilliance before investors. Their words become daggers against themselves. They forget to be underestimated is protection, to be envied is danger. Psychology agrees. People are wired to drop their defenses when they feel superior. If they believe you are beneath them, they relax, they speak openly, they reveal their strategies. And you, the quiet observer, gather their secrets like a fisherman drawing in his net. Have you noticed how easily men betray themselves in conversation when they think no one is listening? That is the power of the mask, but some will protest. Should I make myself a fool? Should I pretend to be stupid? Yes, when it serves you. But understand you. Feigned ignorance is not idiocy. It is performance. It is the art of hiding your weapons until the moment strikes. Think of the chessboard. Would you reveal your queen's power in the first move? Or would you let your opponent believe you are clumsy, unskilled, until he opens a path, unaware he walks into a trap? This is the essence of the mask, not to erase your strength, but to veil it until it cannot be stopped. There is also a deeper psychological trick at work. When you present yourself as less informed, people feel safe guiding you. They explain, they instruct, they lecture. Their ego swells. And in that swelling, they expose themselves. You give them the illusion of superiority while you harvest the reality of control. Who holds the power? The teacher, or the one who lets the teacher reveal all his knowledge? Let us ask a harder question. Why do most people fail at power? Because they cannot endure being underestimated. Their pride itches to display what they know, to win applause, to prove themselves. But applause is fleeting. Control is eternal. The wise endure the sting of dismissal, knowing that today's mockery becomes tomorrow's triumph. Even in personal relationships, this strategy governs. The lover who pretends not to understand while observing. the friend who appears detached while calculating, the colleague who seems passive yet quietly directs the outcome. In every sphere, the mask of ignorance softens resistance. It opens doors. It lets others speak themselves into weakness. Ask yourself, when was the last time you ruined an opportunity by showing too much, too soon? When did your pride cost you the chance to remain hidden, to strike later with certainty? Reflect on this, for it is the disease of the ambitious to shine too brightly, too quickly. And nothing burns out faster than a light revealed before its time. So remember, your mind is a fortress. Do not reveal its walls. Do not reveal its gates. Let others believe there is nothing to besiege. Only then can you lure them inside, where escape is impossible. In this art, ignorance is not weakness. It is camouflage, and camouflage is survival. But the mask is only the first step. What you do with the silence it creates, that is where true mastery begins. Shall we examine how silence itself becomes a weapon sharper than the mask? Silence is not emptiness. It is a mirror. And men, when faced with that mirror, cannot resist filling it with their own reflection. Have you ever noticed how uneasy people grow in silence? The moment your tongue rests, theirs begins to stumble. They explain, justify, confess. Desperate to escape the weight of your quiet. This is where power hides. Not in what you say, but in what you allow others to say to you. Feigned ignorance opens the door, but silence invites them to walk inside willingly. Together, they form a trap more effective than chains. History offers examples. Think of Talleyrand, the French diplomat. A man of few words, yet every monarch feared him. Why? Because in his silence, they spoke too much. Napoleon once said that when Talleyrand stayed quiet, it was like facing a wall of judgment. Eager to break the silence, others revealed secrets, made promises, and disclosed strategies. Talleyrand needed only to nod, and in that nod, empires shifted. This tactic rests on a fundamental truth of psychology. Most people hate the void. They crave validation, reassurance, noise. When you remain silent, they project onto you their fears, their ambitions, their guilt. And in doing so, they strip themselves bare. Picture yourself in a negotiation. You ask a single question, then fall silent. The other party begins to answer. But you give no reaction, no smile, no nod, no interruption. The silence stretches. They grow uncomfortable, so they keep talking. And soon, they reveal far more than they intended. Weaknesses, concessions, vulnerabilities. Your silence cost you nothing, yet it bought you everything. Do you see the pattern? Words are expensive. But silence is priceless. There is also a darker dimension. When you remain quiet, you create ambiguity. And ambiguity is terror. A man will reveal more in the face of your silence than under the threat of torture. Because torture attacks the body. Silence attacks the mind. Consider an interrogation. Not the brutal kind, but the subtle one. You sit across from a rival, calm and composed. You let him speak. When he finishes, you simply remain still. He grows restless. He feels his words were not enough. So he adds more, rushing to fill the space. Each addition is another rope tightening around his own neck. But let us turn inward. Why does silence work so powerfully? Because human beings long to be understood. They are terrified of being ignored. So, when you withhold response, they give more of themselves, hoping to win your acknowledgement. In that desperation lies their surrender. Now ask yourself, how many times have you ruined an opportunity by speaking too quickly? By filling the void, instead of letting the void serve you. When you rush to answer, to explain, to justify, you give away power. But when you wait, you make others reveal themselves. The mask of ignorance tells them you are harmless. Silence convinces them you are listening. Together, these tricks lure them into exposing everything. You need not attack. You need not demand. You need only to remain still and watch them unravel. But be careful. Silence is not muteness. It is strategy. It must be deliberate, calculated, controlled. Too much silence, and you seem absent, weak. Too little, and you waste its effect. The key is timing, knowing when to let the silence breathe and when to break it with a single, cutting remark. One word, after long silence, can pierce deeper than 1,000 speeches. Think of a predator in the wild. The lion does not roar before it strikes. It waits in silence, hidden in the grass, until the prey steps within reach. Your silence is the tall grass. Your words are the strike. But only if you have waited long enough. This, too, reflects a harsh truth about human nature. Most people destroy themselves, not because you outsmarted them, but because they could not endure silence. They revealed their own secrets. They confessed their own intentions. You merely provided the stage. So I ask you, do you have the discipline to remain silent when every nerve in your body demands speech? Can you master the urge to fill the void and instead let the void work for you? If not, you will always be the prey. But if you can, you will command information without effort. And information is the seed of power. Yet silence alone is not enough. Once you have gathered secrets, you must know what to do with them. Secrets are currency. Currency must be spent wisely. In our next lesson, we shall explore how the arrogance of the all-knowing becomes their downfall, and how your mask and silence prepare the perfect stage for their ruin. Arrogance blinds. The man who believes he knows everything walks straight into his own defeat. His pride makes him predictable. His need to display intelligence exposes his weaknesses. And to the silent strategist, he is prey. Have you ever watched someone who cannot resist showing off? The colleague who interrupts every meeting to prove his knowledge. The friend who cannot allow silence without giving his opinion. The lover who always insists on being right. Do you not see how they reveal themselves piece by piece, like a fool stripping in public, unaware of the cold? The arrogant man is a gift. He believes he dominates, but in truth, he entertains. He reveals his thoughts, his plans, his emotions, just to satisfy his ego. All you must do is watch, nod, and let him dig his own grave. History is filled with such figures. Consider Alcibiades of Athens. Brilliant, charismatic, cunning, but consumed by the desire to display his genius. He could not resist boasting, mocking, and showing that he was smarter than everyone else. And what became of him? Betrayed, exiled, hunted. His arrogance turned allies into enemies and made his downfall inevitable. The clever man learns. The arrogant man teaches his own destroyers. Psychology reveals why. Human beings crave recognition. For the arrogant, recognition becomes an addiction. They cannot tolerate being underestimated. They cannot endure the thought of being silent. So they speak over and over to prove superiority, and in that excess, they surrender. Imagine a negotiation again. You remain still, patient, almost ignorant. Your opponent wants to dominate. He speaks endlessly, displaying his expertise. But with each word, he exposes his real concerns, his secret fears, his priorities. By the end, he has handed you the map to his mind. Why? Because his arrogance demanded applause, and you gave it through silence. Let me ask you, have you ever lost power because you could not resist correcting someone? Have you ever revealed too much, simply to show you were right? That was arrogance, not wisdom, and arrogance is always punished. The wise conceal their knowledge. They reveal nothing unless it serves them. They do not need applause, for applause changes nothing. Control, however, changes everything. This is why feigned ignorance and silence strike so deeply against the arrogant. The all-knowing man expects resistance. He expects debate, challenge, confrontation. But when he receives none, he grows uneasy. So he pushes harder, he explains longer, he reveals more, until he is naked before you, and you have given away nothing. Think of the general who flaunts his strategy openly, certain of victory. His enemy, patient and quiet, adapts, waits, and strikes where the general least expects. Overconfidence breeds blindness. Blindness breeds death. Now consider how you might use this in daily life. In the workplace, let the arrogant coworker speak. Let him reveal his ambitions, his resentment, his insecurities. You need not argue. Simply listen, and when the time comes, you will know how to move against him. In relationships, let the one who always knows best talk. Let them reveal their patterns, their vanity, their fears. They think they control the conversation, but you control the silence. And silence always outweighs noise. Do not misunderstand, knowledge itself is not arrogance. It is the hunger to display it that makes men weak. The greatest minds of history often appeared slow, hesitant, quiet. Their brilliance was not in what they shouted, but in what they withheld until the right moment. So I ask you, would you rather be admired or obeyed? Would you rather display your strength or use it? If admiration is your goal, arrogance will lead you there. But if control is your aim, then you must resist the vanity of showing what you know. You must let others underestimate you. You must let the arrogant destroy themselves, while you remain unseen. This lesson is harsh, but it is eternal. The arrogant man writes his own downfall. The silent man edits the ending. Now consider this. What happens when people not only underestimate you, but begin to depend on you? Dependence is the sweetest chain, for it feels like freedom. And in our next lesson, we shall see how to bind others, not with force, not with fear, but with the subtle weight of their own need. Power is not maintained by force alone. Chains of iron can be broken, but chains of need, those are eternal. The clever ruler does not ask, "How do I dominate this man?" He asks, "How do I make him require me?" For the one who depends on you will defend his own prison, believing it a sanctuary. Have you ever watched how children cling to the hand that feeds them? It is not love alone, it is dependence. They cannot survive without it, and adults are no different. Strip away their illusions of independence, and you will see the same hunger, the same fear, the same desperate reliance. History provides endless proof. Consider César Borgia. He did not rule by terror alone. He placed men in positions where their power existed only through him. Governors, soldiers, ministers, each owed their station to his favor. Could they betray him? Perhaps, but betrayal would strip them of the very power they craved. So they clung to him, even as they whispered against him. This principle is simple. The moment you give someone something they cannot replace, you own them. It might be money. It might be knowledge. It might be affection. It might be opportunity. Whatever the gift, it becomes a leash. Psychology confirms this truth. Dependency creates loyalty stronger than fear. Why? Because fear fades when the threat is distant. But need is constant, gnawing, inescapable. The dependent cannot forget you, for every day they require what you provide, and every day they must return to your hand. Think of your workplace. The boss who withholds knowledge, ensuring only he understands the system. Others must run to him for answers. He may appear generous when he helps, but in truth, he has built a kingdom where all roads lead to him. That is not generosity, it is architecture. Think of relationships. The lover who becomes the sole provider of emotional validation. Every compliment, every reassurance, every spark of intimacy, tightly rationed, deliberately placed. The other becomes addicted. They feel alive only when the provider grants them attention. And so they stay. Not out of freedom, but out of dependence. Have you not seen this in your own life? That one person you believed you could not live without. Did you ever ask why? Was it truly love? Or was it the leash of need disguised as devotion? Dependence is more than possession. It is control without resistance. The dependent man does not rebel, because rebellion would sever his lifeline. He convinces himself that submission is his choice. This illusion is the sweetest poison of all. But be warned, creating dependence requires patience. Give too much too quickly, and your subject feels entitled. Give carefully, gradually, and they will mistake your leash for their own desire. Let them think they are choosing you. That illusion is what binds them strongest. Consider the patronage systems of Renaissance Italy. Artists, writers, and thinkers served under wealthy patrons. The patron gave them funds, protection, and prestige. The artist felt grateful, even inspired. But gratitude was a disguise. In truth, they had no choice. Without the patron, their livelihood vanished. So they obeyed. Their genius itself became property, chained not by force but by need. Now reflect on your own strategies. Do you make others depend on you? Or do you, without noticing, depend on them? Who controls the flow of what you desire? If you cannot answer, then you are already someone's subject. The wise do not give everything. They give just enough. Enough to spark loyalty, but never enough to free the other from need. It is a delicate balance. Too little, and they turn elsewhere. Too much, and they forget your importance. True mastery lies in the middle ground, where they believe they are receiving abundance, yet remain perpetually unsatisfied. Ask yourself, what is the leash you can offer? What is the resource, the emotion, the knowledge, the access that others will hunger for? Once you identify it, you hold the key to power without confrontation. Remember this: fear fades, love wavers, but dependence endures. The man who fears you may one day rebel. The man who loves you may one day leave. But the man who needs you, he is yours forever. And yet, there is another weapon sharper still. Dependence gives you followers. But revealing your intelligence at the precise moment gives you victory. For the timing of revelation is the difference between wasted knowledge and unstoppable power. Knowledge itself is not power. It is potential. Unspent, it is nothing but a weight in the mind. Revealed at the wrong time, it is waste. But revealed at the right moment, it becomes a weapon sharper than steel. Do you understand this? That the timing of revelation decides whether your intelligence makes you master or fool. Too soon, and you arm your enemies. Too late, and the moment of advantage is lost. The true strategist is not the man who knows much, but the man who knows when to show it. History proves this law again and again. Consider Julius Caesar. He knew his ambition was dangerous, that the Senate feared him. Had he revealed his hunger for dictatorship too early, Rome would have crushed him. So he masked it. He spoke of loyalty, of tradition, of service to the Republic. Only when the city was already under his grasp did he drop the pretense and cross the Rubicon. The revelation came not when he desired it, but when resistance could no longer stop him. Now reflect on your own life. How often have you revealed your strength too soon? The idea you shared before it was ready, stolen by another. The plan you announced before securing resources, mocked and dismissed. The feeling you confessed to someone who was not yet in your grasp, leaving you vulnerable. Do you see the pattern? Impatience destroys advantage. Restraint multiplies it. Psychology offers insight into why. Humans crave certainty. They rush to show their cards because uncertainty burns like fire in the chest. But uncertainty is where control is born. When you withhold, you make others restless. They wonder, they speculate. They underestimate, and all the while you prepare unseen. When the revelation comes, it is not merely information. It is a strike. Think of the courtroom. The skilled lawyer does not reveal his strongest evidence at the beginning. He waits until the opponent has trapped himself in lies, until the jury is leaning away from him. Then, at the exact moment of maximum impact, he presents it. The revelation is devastating. Not because of the evidence alone, but because of the timing. Or consider the battlefield. A general who shows all his strength at once leaves nothing to fear. But one who hides his reserve, who strikes with fresh troops only when the enemy believes victory is theirs. That general wins not through force, but through surprise. So too in your dealings with people. The revelation of knowledge, emotion, or ability should always come when it alters the balance most decisively. Not when you wish to prove yourself, but when your silence has already set the stage. Ask yourself, do you seek recognition or do you seek control? Recognition pushes you to reveal too early. Control teaches you to wait. The applause you earn by speaking quickly is brief. The mastery you earn by striking at the perfect time is eternal. But do not mistake waiting for inaction. Silence and concealment are not laziness, they are investment. Every moment you withhold is like a coin placed in the vault. When you finally spend it, the value is magnified. Think of relationships. Reveal your emotions too early, and you surrender leverage. Reveal them after the other is already attached, already bound, and they become chains. Think of business. Reveal your innovation before you own the means to defend it, and it will be stolen. Reveal it once you control the market, and it becomes a crown. This is why the greatest rulers and thinkers appeared patient, even hesitant. They were not slow. They were precise. They did not reveal truth when it burned inside them. They revealed it when it served them. Do you have this discipline? Can you hold back what you know, even when your pride begs to display it? Can you let others believe you weaker, dumber, less capable than you are, until the day you decide to strike? If not, then your knowledge will betray you. But if you can master this restraint, you will not only know more than others, you will use it more than they ever can. Remember, knowledge is a sword. Timing is the hand that wields it. In the wrong hand, it is useless. In the right hand, it conquers empires, but timing does more than win battles. It creates uncertainty, and uncertainty breeds doubt, hesitation, paralysis. The man who can see doubt in others already controls them before the fight begins. And that, my friend, is the shadow we must now step into. How doubt itself becomes your most faithful ally. Control is never taken by force alone. It is won in silence, in patience, in the careful weaving of ignorance, dependence, timing, and doubt. The strongest chains are invisible. The proud believe they are free, even as they walk inside the cage you built for them. They speak, and you listen. They reveal, and you conceal. They move, and you direct. And they never realize who holds the strings. Ask yourself, would you rather be admired or obeyed? Would you rather be loved or indispensable? The answer defines whether you are a pawn in another's game or the player who arranges the board. Power belongs not to the loudest voice, but to the quiet mind that waits. And now, you have seen how control can be absolute, without ever appearing in your hands. If this lesson struck you, leave your thoughts below. Subscribe for more strategies sharpened in the shadows. And share this video, so others too may learn what most men will never admit. That power is hidden and always in the hands of the unseen.